Hi, everybody. My name is Arn Alleman, and it took me a minute to realize that a lot of you probably don't really know who I am. So I wanted to take a second to introduce myself. I am the owner and founder of Alchemy Blade Works. You've seen me here on Instagram, possibly. Many of you are my friends already. If you see me on Facebook, and so you're like, duh, Arn, we know all about you. But I wanted to take a second just to talk a little bit about why I'm doing this, what it's about, where we're going, shout out some things because there's some amazing people that are connected, and then also hopefully inspire. And it seems I want you to understand that I say that with a level of humility, because to think that you can inspire somebody to do something, some people will look at that and they'll be like, oh my gosh, really? Like, why? But the reality is that I was inspired by many people who, big and small, that were doing things that, said to me, hey, it's time to get off your ass and do something that you wanted to do. And so that's what this is about. So I would like to just say right at the beginning here, give you an opportunity, please, to share this if you feel like the message is something that other people might want to hear. As well, if you've got outdoor enthusiast friends, culinary enthusiasts, people that are chefs and cooks and hunters and all of this stuff, please share the page. We offer amazing, amazing tools that are built to last for generations, and they're sound, and you can bet your life on them. So, but I'm gonna pull this in a second too. I want to show you guys something that just came in as I shout out my thanks and gratitudes at the end. But to begin with, many of you know, and it would be great if I had that knife right now. I should probably start over and do it again, but I'm not going to. Many of you may have heard the story already, but this really turned into a story because I was on a hunting trip with my cousin, longest period of time I've ever gotten to spend with him, which was absolutely awesome. And even better was that we got to do it with my oldest son. And so the three of us, you have a lot of time to talk when you're out on an elk hunt and you're not seeing any elk, right? And one of the things that, I've always loved knives. Like as a kid, we would travel, go back and see family and friends, and I'd always want to go to the Army Navy stores and pick up stuff. And I had a million knives. I don't know what happened to them all. They're probably in a box somewhere, but they're gone. But I had dive knives, and I had pocket knives, and I had all sorts of knives. I made knives out of wood. I made knives out of rocks. I was like, this is so cool. And along the way, like I've always made things. I've always enjoyed making things with my hands. As an adult, I've been more involved with fitness. And so, and then I'm also a teacher. I don't know, you may not know that about me, but I am a high school teacher. I teach chemistry and anatomy and physiology and biology currently. But if you name the science subject, I've probably taught it. So anyway, so that's my day job. But on the side, or even as a young kid, I would always make things. And sometimes as a kid, I made things because I didn't want to buy it, or we couldn't buy it, right? And so I grew up ski racing, and that was one of the things with that. I made shin guards in the early 90s, late 80s, and they were freaking awesome. Like my dad bought me some different polyethylene and God, I'm trying to remember what all the other stuff was, Lexan, and we'd heat them up in the oven. I'd put them on a pillow. I'd put on my ski boots, my kit, my outfit, and then I would kneel down on them. I'd shape them around my legs, and then I'd cut them out, and then I've got these shin guards. And so absolutely awesome. And they were form fit, right? And so it was really cool. And then that naturally turned into me selling them because people wanted them, the masters races, the other kids on the team. And it was really neat. Like it was a really little stint, right? As a young adult, I had always wanted to make bamboo fly rods. And so I got started making bamboo fly rods. And my dad and a group of friends, we all went in. Everybody bought a little bit of stuff. Ironically, it's all in my garage now. I inherited it all. I would like to say that I was the one that spearheaded that. It was a vision. I knew at the point that I couldn't leverage all the tools. And so I was like, hey, let's get some people interested. And we did. And interestingly enough with that, I started making these, and then people started requesting them. And so I started making a few. Now, the thing about bamboo fly rods, each rod, to make about 40 hours, to finish about 40 hours. And so we're looking at about 80 hours per rod. And it just didn't really pencil out. And then we had our boys, and truly my oldest is 16. The last rod, he was born in June. And the last rod I finished was a set that I finished November of that year. I've got a bunch still waiting. I'd love to get that out when I have space in the shop, but for right now, that one's on hiatus. So the knives came about through discussion and just a desire. Like I had files that I had outlined profiles, and I'm like, I want to make a knife out of this for years. Like they're still sitting there. I'm like, I'm not going to ever make anything out of these. I'm just going to sit them with the magic marker marks still there. The point is that this is something that I've always loved to build and to make. And so when I made that first knife for my son, that was really what it was. It was make a knife for my son that he could use, and the intention was to have it by hunting camp that year. Well, hunting camp was in October, and I think I got it to him mid-November. But he's got it, and I will show it. I'll grab it, put a picture in here, maybe post it a little bit later. But honestly, it's pretty freaking awesome. It's a great knife. It sharpens well. I mean, and the cool thing about it is I formed it with belts that were my dad's that were 7 years old on his 2x72 grinder. I made a little forge. I mean, that's a story in and of itself that I'll have to share at some point. But I made this knife. And at the end, looking at it now, like it's nothing that I would necessarily want to, I wouldn't sell it. But it's a knife. And when you look at it, you're like, that's damn good. In fact, a couple of the ones that came after it were not nearly as good. So I took my time. It was really fun. But the interest started growing, and I was just like, this is something that I really love. I enjoy it. It checks all the boxes for me. Like, I'm able to be creative. I'm able to create a functional tool. Tools to me in my life are really, really important. Like, when I buy, like the bamboo fly rod thing, we started collecting old hand planes because the new ones are shit, right? And so we started collecting old hand planes. My dad bought a Lee Nielsen plane. If you're familiar with woodworking, like these are the Gucci of planes. And I'm not talking, flying plane. I'm talking like planes that plane stuff, right? Plane it out. And so he bought that. And my thought with all of those, I'm like, I'll never get rid of this stuff, even if I don't ever use it again, because at some point, I want my family, my kids, maybe their kids, to go through this stuff and to look at it, not as something that they can pawn and give away or trade up for something else, but as something that they can use to be attached to memories. Because I feel like, and I hate that we're getting to the 7 minutes into the video, but if you're still watching, thank you, share from this point. I feel that we are in a society where we can just cast things away. We're immediate gratification. We want things for a great price. We're okay oftentimes doing with less quality, even doing with less morality, if it means that we can get something now or we can get something that we want. And that's really, as I started to envision this company, as I started to envision this process and what I want to do with it, I'm like, I want something that people can believe in. And I believe that there are companies like this out there, not just mine. This is not unique, but it's not common. And I really believe that it's not common. We're in a disposable society, and we're losing sight of the craft. We're losing sight of the care and the love that goes into stuff. And we're losing sight of memories. This phone has 50,000 pictures of my family, and that could be gone tomorrow if something were to happen to my account, the phone, whatever, right? Let your mind wander, okay? And that's okay. I'll still remember memories, right? But you know what? I have other things that when I pick it up and I think about that, like the hammer that I use in my garage, is a little teeny ball peen hammer with a split shaft, and it's all greased and oiled. That was my grandpa's. I think about what grandpa might have used that for as I'm tapping on stuff with that little hammer. Like, there's all these little memories. And so I know in my heart that these tools that I'm creating, that I'm sharing, creating for you, that these tools are going to be passed on for generations. And I've already seen it in the stories that are told of the families, the fathers who have bought, and fathers, mothers who have bought for their sons and daughters, for hunting knives, young kids, that they want something that they're going to have for the rest of their life. In the old days, grandma and grandpa might have gone out and got you a buck knife. And in the old days, it meant something, because buck knives were made in the USA, along with a lot of other knives. And they had American-made steel and all of this great stuff, right? Now, most of them are stamped overseas for pennies on the dollar, and they're sold for profit. And profit's not bad. Profit's freaking awesome. I love capitalism. But what is not awesome is the quality. What is not awesome is the character of those old tools. And you can't beat it. You can't beat it. I have some, and man, great memories. So it's been awesome for people to want to include that in their family and to include me in part of that journey. It's awesome to see their vision, to share materials with them, to talk about different types of steel, talk about the different profiles, maybe even create something totally different. It's one of the coolest things that I've experienced in my 50 years. And so this really is just an opportunity to introduce myself, to share a little bit with you about Alchemy Blade Works in just preceding the launch of our website. And right now I am shooting for a hard launch on April 1st. No joke, all right? April Fools. I'm not a good April Fool's joke guy, so this will actually be the greatest joke. Probably nobody will show up on April Fools thinking, oh my gosh, he's just joking. And then, who knows? Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll crash the site. There's not enough stuff there to crash the site, so don't worry too much about that. But you know what? It's not so much about that. It's about just the story and the journey. And that's what I wanted to come on for right now. I also wanted to say thank you. I have a number of people, businesses that, because of the amazing quality that you provide and the amazing customer service that you provide, I am able to do what I do. And so one of those shout outs that I want to share is a shout out to Housemaid and Brian House. Brian, for those of you that know, in the makers community, is an absolutely awesome guy. Like, he truly is. He and his wife, when I've had questions, I message them, and one of them gets back within hours, if not minutes. He is known for creating amazing tools that are supplied in a done-for-you fashion. So, for instance, my 2x72 belt grinder, when I wanted to upgrade from the one that I inherited from my dad, which was a single speed, just, single axle, whatever. I wanted something that tilted, variable speeds, yada, yada, yada. I bought the Housemaid grinder. I had an opportunity to pull in a friend who helped me weld that together. I had, I'm trying to think, I had another friend come in and help me with the wiring and the 220 and all of that stuff. And so these are that's freaking amazing, right? So building that community all through what Brian House did through Housemaid. So I thank you, Brian. And there are a number of guys that collaborate with Brian, and they're all freaking awesome as well. So I'd encourage you, if you're not there, check out Housemaid. Another person I'd like to shout out to that reached out very early on, and one of the first knives that I actually sold was a good buddy of mine, Jay Gentry. Crossroads Armory in Indianapolis, and then also owner of a couple of UPS stores. And so, number one, Jay's been great in inspiring me along the way. I mean, again, bought a couple of my earlier knives, has bought knives since, has recently, I just got the package along with these, recently showed a handful of my knives at a show in Indianapolis. Just absolutely amazing person, company, family. But these are the boxes that our knives are going to be shipping in and delivering in here, starting next delivery. But on the front, nice little logo. Actually, this logo was created by Pelican Paste, and I don't remember his name. I just know him as Pelican Paste, but awesome. If you're looking for a great blade wax, they will personalize. So as we were coming up with something to put on, this is what he came up with, and we're using it. So there you go. And then you open it up. Warning, knives are sharp as hell, right? Little tag slogan we've got going on there, and then box. So we got official boxes right now to level up our game. That's awesome. So I mentioned Pelican Paste. Other incredible people, New Jersey Steel Baron, been working with them. Number one, early on, I was purchasing steel from a number of different people. And one of the things that I realized early on is that certain steels are produced by, like, everybody's brokering stuff, wholesaling and then reselling, right? And so what I found is that a lot of the companies throughout the country that are selling steel are actually purchasing it from New Jersey Steel Baron. Now, they might be selling it at a cheaper price to me, but the cool thing was that through NJSB, I could get any steel that I wanted. They have an incredible assortment. They have great prices and very competitive shipping. And so by the time we put it all together and you look at what I'm able to order in volume, it comes out cheaper. And I've got really anything and everything that I could possibly want. Plus, they're able to offer some other services to the steel that are very unique for me. So they've worked with me on CAD design and digitizing some of my images and designs that I've created through CAD, so that we can bring that straight to me as a pre-cut blank of my design. I still do all of the work, but I don't have to do the very front part. So I'm trying to think of how can I scale and make this process better for you, because right now we're sitting honestly at June, July for delivery on knives. I just am finishing a knife today that It was a late order. It wasn't expected to get by Christmas, but honestly, it was an order for Christmas. The one that I delivered 2 days ago was made in October. And so that order was placed in October. So, I don't always want to be so far behind, and the list is going to continue to grow. I want to be able to offer some stuff on the site that is ready to rock. That's awesome designs, and really exciting for you. So anyway, New Jersey Steel Baron, absolutely amazing. Starbond adhesives I use all the time, and they've been phenomenal. They've incorporated what I do with some product testing, and I feel very honored to be able to share that with you. Whether, I don't know if they want me to share it or not, I won't tell you about the stuff that I've tried, but I love their products. I believe in their products, and I think that it's because they've seen that they reached out, because I don't have a huge reach, and so that was really cool. So I want to make sure to honor them, because I think they offer an incredible product. And then just outside of that, just friends and family. That is really the biggest thing that in closing that I want to say. Without the love and support of the people around me, the opportunity to create things for other people would not be there. And I say that wholeheartedly, because it's not just somebody saying, yeah, sure, go to the shop, but it's being able to go to the shop in a good headspace. I don't know about you, but I have a tough time being creative when life's not good. And sometimes you have to push through, right? But it is nice to be free. It is nice to be creative. It is nice to be just flow and let things happen. And I really do feel and believe that that's what happens. Let me show you something here really quick. I mean, this is an example of what happens when life just flows. I'm super stoked about this design. I don't know if that'll come in or not. Let's see if we can get a little bit better picture here. Got cinema style. So anyway, this is based off of our Frank. I actually had Jay, that I talked about, reach out, and we're doing a few knives for the shop. And so he wanted a bigger blade than what I currently offered for my hunting knives. And so with that said, I wanted to create a couple of designs for him. And so this was one of the 3 designs that we pitched, if you will. And this one didn't win for them, but it won for me. It won my heart. This thing's amazing. It's a full-size knife. We're sitting there at about 6 inches. I don't remember exactly. I'd have to get my measure out. I've just been making it, but approximately 6 inches on the blade. We've got a Coke Bile style grip. I'm going to be softening that a little bit, pushing up a little bit in the front there, so you've got a nice pinch grip. So I'll get final pictures on it. Incredible wood from Bitterroot Handleworks. This is a dyed curly Mercer birch, if you will. The thing that caught me when I saw it online, it showed up more orange in the pictures, but it's fine. It's absolutely sick. And the thing that caught me was it was kind of like flames, and I was like, you know what? That is going to be insane. So this one, we'll call it a prototype, which means it stays at home, right? But I will be producing more of these. I've actually got one in MagnaCut that's coming on. But hey, every design is 100% our own. I think that's something that's really unique and really fun. I don't buy blanks from anybody unless it is like NJSB and they're making the blanks for me. So that for me is really, really exciting. Yeah, just want to say thank you. And I truly, truly appreciate the love and the support of this community. But more importantly, again, like I said at the very beginning, if the ability and desire to follow your dreams is something that you believe in, then please share this video, share our site. This dream is just getting started, and it's not my first dream, but it is a dream. And when I say it's not my first dream, I don't mean first in order of priority. I mean, I am a perpetual dreamer. I am a perpetual goal setter. I am curious. I am inquisitive, and I love making cool shit. And so this is something that, like I said at the beginning, checks all the boxes. And here's the reality. I want something that's going to be around. I want something that's going to be usable, not disposable. And I want something that's going to be regarded in society right now and in society moving forward in certain people's lives, regarded as something that has value. And I'm not talking about the cost. I'm talking about the connection. I'm talking about the purpose behind it, why it was purchased for you and or given to you. And that to me, that is special. So again, thank you. while I realize this may inspire somebody, I want you to know that what you're doing, those of you that I'm able to see, right? Those of you that are in my feed, those of you that I follow, you inspire me every day through what you do, the way that you lead your families, the way that you do your job, the way that you create, because we are all creators. And I'm grateful to be here. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. We'll talk soon. Remember, April 1st.